Hey guys, it's Al with techmadeezy, and it is time for a speaker showdown. That's right, Ego versus JBL. And as you can see to the left side, we've got the JBL Xtreme 4. And to the right, the JBL BoomBox 3. And let me tell you, it is a beast. So you know what? Let's go ahead and check this out. All right, guys, so let me just tell you, I picked up the Ego speaker when it first launched. I really wasn't sure what to think, to be honest with you. I was either going to buy it and use it and then sell it. I decided to keep it. It is made very well, and the sound quality is just phenomenal, to be honest with you. Now, why do I say that? Look, I've had JBLs before. I love Bluetooth speakers. I've got a ton of them. And as you can see, the Xtreme 4 is here, and the BoomBox 3. This is really the closest competition. And which one sounds better? And if I had to choose, which one would I go with if I didn't have these? Well, I'm going to mention that towards the end of the video. But let me bring up a slide and show you what I'm going to be covering in this video. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick look at each speaker. I'll go over what's included. I'll go over what you need, because you might need something in order to use the speaker, like the Ego speaker. I'm going to do a sound comparison using a decibel meter. I'll go over detailed specs, so you'll see all of the detailed specs on these. And then I'll go over other features and benefits like straps, handles, removable batteries. And then which one would I choose? Let's go ahead and check this out. Let's go ahead and jump in now and talk about Ego. So there's two ways to position this. Number one, if you already own Ego batteries, and you already own Ego chargers and Ego tools, well, this is really for you, because the speaker is $329 MSRP. Now, I haven't seen it go on sale yet. This just launched, right? So you just pay $329, you use your batteries, and you use your chargers. But if you're not on the platform and you really like this speaker, what would it cost you? Well, let's say the speaker is $329, and you want to get a 2.5 amp hour battery. This is one of their smaller batteries. This battery is $199 MSRP. It really sells for about $149. So let's just keep that, $329 and $149. Now, you're going to need a charger. So I would recommend that you get the Ego 320 watt charger. There it goes. Now, this is MSRP $159. But it sells a lot for about $49. I see it a lot for $49. But that can get pretty expensive, because if you talk about $159, let's just say, and $149 and $329, you're looking at $637 before your taxes and any kind of shipping. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the Ego speaker. Keep in mind, later on we're going to cover specs, you know, how many speakers, all of the wattage, all that good stuff. But from the front, you can see that you've got a nice metal grill, power button, Bluetooth, linking. So you can link this to many speakers. We'll talk about that later on. You can obviously lower the volume, raise the volume, play, pause, and bass up, where you can actually raise your bass. A nice, really nice handle, I'll tell you. I think it's an aluminum handle. It is screwed on pretty well. Let's take a look at the back of this. This is the back of the speaker. This is where the battery goes. These are the connectors. They're actually covered. And then this is a release for the battery. So all you do is you take an Ego battery, any size. This can fit up to a 12 amp hour. And if they make a larger one, it can fit. Obviously, there's no restriction. And then when you want to release it, you just pull the release, pull your battery up, and that's it. There's one more thing I want to show you. Now, I'm zoomed in on this corner, as you can see here, and the reason why is there's a cover. And when you remove the cover, I want you to see that you have a USB Type-C. This is 100 watts in and out. You have a USB Type-A, and you have a 3.5 millimeter auxiliary jack. And that is great if you have old technology and you just want to plug in maybe an old device to play music from. You can do that. So there you go. Now that it's on, you can see your power button and your Bluetooth light up, as well as obviously your battery meter on your battery. That's pretty cool. Another thing I want you to see is the passive radiators actually light up. And you'll see that they have, you know, bright to dark, which is pretty cool. So you get some of this light here on this here, then you get this Big Eagle logo lit up. But these are your passive radiators on both sides. That's pretty cool. Now here's the JBL Xtreme 4, the latest and greatest. Now this, just so you'll know, MSRP is $379, but I see this selling for $249 to $279. It does come with an AC charger, so you get one of these, which is really nice, and it is USB Type-C, so I love that. You also get a really nice carry strap. You know, it's made well, it's adjustable in size, and as you can see on the rings here, you do get pretty beefy rings there on top. Let's take a moment and just take a quick look at the speaker. Let's jump in and take a nice close look at the speaker here. Let's go over the controls. So you've got obviously your lower volume, your higher volume, your play, your pause, your Auracast button. Now that is going to allow you to connect multiple speakers. Then you've got your power and your Bluetooth. You then have these hooks for your shoulder strap that's included. That's nice. Then you've got this raised JBL logo with the orange outline. Then you've got really a light here as you're charging. This will actually become solid once it's fully charged. You got your passive radiators on both sides. And I'll turn this on in a minute. I don't know if these light up, but these are pretty beefy. JBL has been making these speakers for a very long time. Now, these are interesting because, to my knowledge, you can put the speaker down that way if you want. Obviously, I don't think that's the best way to play it, but I don't know if they're made to do that. But this is really a durable speaker, and when we go over the specs, you're going to be really surprised. If you go to the back of the speaker, you're going to see that you've got a USB Type-C. That's an in and an out. And I'm pretty surprised at the wattage that handles, but we'll talk about that during specs. As you can see here, again, you've got these rubber, feet on both sides that do a good job when you put the speaker down. And here is where you have a battery that you can replace, so you can buy additional batteries. Now, I'm surprised that they didn't give you the hex screw in order to take this off. I thought they should have probably included that in the box. But let me take this off and show you the battery real quick. There's the bottom of the speaker, and this does take some tugging. You might need a small screwdriver to pull that out, but once you get it out, and again, this thing seals. That's the reason why it doesn't come out easy. But here's your battery. And you can buy additional batteries, which is great. It's kind of hard to read, but of course it's lithium ion. Here's the connector. I have my studio lights off. We're going to turn this on real quick. I just want to see what lights up. Let's hold the power button down. This light turned on. Obviously we've got the power light on, and then Bluetooth is flashing. And that's about it. No lights on the sides or anything, which is fine, at the end of the day. Here is a big speaker, and this one is really very close when it comes to the competition to the Ego. If anything, this might be better. I'm not sure yet. Now, as you can see from the color around the JBL, this is the Wi-Fi version. I couldn't get my hands on the non-Wi-Fi version. The Wi-Fi version sells anywhere from $500 to $679. Now, the non-Wi-Fi version sells for around $399. It does come with a power cord that does not require any kind of brick, which is nice. So that's built in, which is huge. And let's take a moment and take a close look at this. Let's take our close look. Again, let's talk about the logo. As you can see, there is more of a gold instead of a, kind of an orange. The gold is going to be all about that Wi-Fi. There is your power light. When this is charging, that will light up on the bottom. You do get a pretty beefy handle, and it feels like it's aluminum from what I can see. And you can see here it also says Wi-Fi in the corner on the right. Now when we talk about the buttons, you're going to see here that there's no party boost button on this one. The heart that's on here is really for Wi-Fi. I don't know why they put a heart there, but you get a heart to connect to Wi-Fi. And obviously the non-Wi-Fi version would have that, button there for the party boost. Play, pause, power indicator light in the middle, Bluetooth, obviously volume up, volume down. So pretty simple. Let's look at the back. And if we open this up, you'll see that the plug goes right in there. You do have a power source if you actually want to charge your devices. This is USB-A. I will provide the specs later on. This does seal. And you'll notice there's no 3.5 millimeter jack here. But on the non-Wi-Fi, you get a 3.5 millimeter jack. Push this in, and it'll actually help with the waterproofing. Looking at the bottom of this speaker, you're going to see that they've got plenty of rubber down here. So when you place this down, you don't have to worry about it scratching anything. Looking at the passive radiators, you'll see here that this is a little bit different than the BoomBox 3 non-Wi-Fi. As you can see, that's a Wi-Fi symbol there. So, pretty nice. When we turn this on, we get the power symbol lighting up. And of course, down there, this lights up as well. Just to show you, I think that'll turn off in a moment, but that battery's fully charged. And the Bluetooth signal is not flashing, but if you want to, pair this, you can hold that down to pair. But you do have a power symbol in the middle that's flashing and the power button. And I'll tell you something, this has got some really nice space. I'm now going to go over specs and features. Don't forget, we covered cost, and we took a close look a little while ago. If you want, rewind to check that out. Now, as I explain not only how many speakers, I want you to realize that some of these speakers, depending on if they're plugged in or if they're actually using a battery, will perform differently. Now, I'll be honest with you, the Xtreme and the BoomBox actually disclose the wattage, whereas Ego does not disclose the wattage, but there's definitely a difference. So when I used my Ego speaker with a USB Type-C cable, a 100-watt AC adapter, the sound was definitely lower than when I actually used the 56-volt battery. So just realize that it will perform better with a battery. Now the same thing with the Xtreme 4 and the BoomBox 3. They definitely have more bass and more loudness when they're plugged in. But let's go ahead and start by going over the speakers. Let's start off with Ego. So Ego has 5 speakers for a total of 180 watts. Now it's got 2 mid-range woofers. They're 40 watts each. 2 tweeters at 10 watts each, and 1 subwoofer at 80 watts each. Keep in mind the wattage that I just disclosed is when the battery is connected, the 56-volt battery. When you use the USB Type-C cable, the wattage will be lower, but Ego doesn't disclose that. Also, the Ego has 2 passive radiators that actually light up, which is pretty cool. We showed that earlier. Let's move on to the Xtreme 4. Maximum wattage on the Xtreme 4 is 180 watts. It's got 4 speakers. Now I'm going to break this down by battery versus AC. So the two mid-range woofers on battery are 20 watts each. On AC, they're 30 watts each. The tweeters on battery, you've got 2 of them at 15 watts or 2 of them at 20 watts on AC. There is no subwoofer, and you've got 2 passive radiators. Let's move on to the BoomBox 3. Keep in mind the Wi-Fi and the non-Wi-Fi version both have the same speakers. You have a total of 5 speakers for a maximum of 180 watts. Now, we're going to talk on battery and on AC. So the 2 mid-range woofers are 30 watts on battery and 40 watts on AC. The tweeters are 8 watts on battery and 10 watts on AC, and again they have 2 tweeters. Now the subwoofer on battery is 60 watts and on AC is 80 watts. And keep in mind it also has 2 passive radiators. Let's now talk about speaker linking. The Ego speaker can link up to 100 speakers. The Xtreme 4 can link up to 100 speakers via Auracast. And the BoomBox 3 non-Wi-Fi version has Party Boost. The Wi-Fi version does not have Party Boost. Let's take a minute and talk about the IP rating, right? That weather rating. So the Ego is IP54. And as you can see on the screen there, it's protected against dust and splashing water. But the Xtreme 4 and the BoomBox 3 are IP67. And that's really nice. That means you can submerge up to 3.3 feet for about 30 minutes. That's max. Let's take a moment now and talk about batteries. So the Ego can use any Ego 56-volt lithium-ion battery. The Xtreme 4 has a lithium-ion battery that is 68 watt-hours, and it's removable and replaceable, and you can buy a few and take them with you. The BoomBox 3 is lithium-ion at 69.12 watt-hours, but it's not removable. And maybe that'll change in the future. Let's continue on with specs. Let's talk about runtime. So Ego states 25 hours with a 2.5 amp hour battery on the volume's lowest setting. JBL on the Xtreme 4 and BoomBox 3 say 24 hours with a 50% volume setting. That's pretty darn good. Bluetooth, all 3 of these speakers are 5.3 version. Ego states a range of 180 feet, but JBL doesn't have any distance or range for the 4 or the BoomBox 3. Now, let's go over ports. The Ego has a 10-watt USB-A port, which is 5 volts, 2 amps. It has a USB-C, which is an in and an out, by the way, so that means you can charge or you can charge your devices. It is a 100 watts. And it also has a 3.5 millimeter jack. The Xtreme 4 only has a USB Type-C in and out, and it's only 22 watts. I was pretty surprised at that, but that's still helpful. The BoomBox 3 has a 10-watt USB-A port, 5 volt, 2 amp. No USB-C, but the non-Wi-Fi version does have a 3.5 millimeter jack. The Wi-Fi version does not, so just be aware. Concerning a power bank feature, right? So all 3 of these have what they call a power bank feature, and that means that you can plug in your phone, your tablet, and actually get the device to charge from your speaker. Again, Ego has that 100 watt USB Type-C in and out, so that's great. The Xtreme 4 has a 22 watt USB Type-C in and out, and the BoomBox 3 has a USB-A port. We're going to now talk about charging, right? You want to talk about how do I charge my speaker, my batteries. Let's start off with the Xtreme 4 real quick. I think it's really unique. So You do get the AC cord in the box with the USB Type-C end on the other side, so I like that. If you have a USB charger, as long as it's 65 watts or more, you can also use your own. So that's nice. You don't have to worry about buying another one if you lose the original. Now don't forget, the Xtreme 4 has the removable and replaceable batteries. So you can actually buy more of those and bring them with you. Now, the JBL BoomBox 3 does come with a power cord, and the charger is built into the speaker, so you're only carrying around this small power cord. Now, I wish it had USB Type-C, because if it did, then you don't have to worry, if I lose my cord, how am I going to charge the speaker? Because that's pretty expensive. And let's talk about Ego. So Ego is unique in the sense that it can take a battery, or it can take a USB Type-C power brick, to power the device. Now, if I want to charge the battery, for instance, I can use an Ego charger, or I can put the Ego battery on the speaker. It can actually use a USB Type-C charger. Now, again, you do want to make sure that 65 watts or higher, and I highly recommend 100 watts. Let's go ahead and talk about weight. So the Ego speaker is 17 pounds by itself. And if you add a 2.5 amp hour battery, you are just under 20 pounds. The Xtreme 4 is the lightest of them all, 4.63 pounds. And the BoomBox 3, 14.7 pounds. Now, warranty, Ego is giving you a 5-year warranty on this speaker. That is amazing. The JBL Xtreme 4 and the BoomBox 3 both come with a 1-year warranty. Now, don't forget, the Ego has a handle, the BoomBox 3 has a handle, the Xtreme 4 does come with a carry strap, and, by the way, the carry strap actually has a can opener on it. I did not know that initially, but that is a can opener on the strap. Pretty interesting. We're going to start off using the Ego speaker with the battery in. That's going to be full power. We will not use a USB charger because it won't be full power. Now we're going to do the same with the JBLs. We're going to be plugging these speakers in. Now, what I'm going to be doing is playing the music at 50% and then playing it at 100%. One thing about the Ego, it's got a bass button. So I'm going to play it at 50% for a little bit, and then I'm going to press the button. I'll play it at 100% for a little bit, and then I'm going to press the button. So let's start off with the Ego. I'm going to be playing 2 songs. Let's start off with the first one at 50%. Now 100%. We're going to try the next song now. Here's the next song. 100%. Let's go ahead and check out the Xtreme 4 on 50% volume. Let's move up to 100%. Here's the next song at 50% volume. Let's try for 100% now. All right, here's the beast, the BoomBox 3. Oh boy, I'm going to be using some hearing protection at some point, but I also want to listen to the sound for you. Again, here's the first song, 50%. Let's go to 100%. got to tell you, it is so hard to tell the difference between the BoomBox 3 and the Ego. I have to tell you, they are so similar that it scares me to even think that the Ego speaker might be a BoomBox 3. Wow. Here's the next song, 50%. Here's 100%. All right, I'm going to do one more test now. I'm going to put the volume at 75%, and I'm going to play one song on the JBL BoomBox 3. I'm going to play the same song on the Ego, both 75%. Let's start off with the BoomBox. All right, I played 30 seconds of that song. I'm going to do the same thing with the Ego. All right, here's the Ego, 75%, same song, 30 seconds. Well, now it's really all up to you. What do you think? Out of these three speakers, I honestly don't think the Xtreme 4 plays a part in this party, but I thought I would actually put it into the video. What do you think? Post a comment, let me know. Would you go for the Ego or would you go for the JBL, and why? All right, it's about that time. Which one of these would I choose? Now, first of all, I'm not choosing the Xtreme 4. It's just a little too small. I want a handle, I don't need a strap, and I definitely need a subwoofer. That doesn't have a subwoofer. The bass on these two is amazing. Now, let's take away that I own Ego batteries and Ego equipment. Let's make believe I don't. Which one of these would I choose? I would actually choose the JBL BoomBox 3. The sound quality is phenomenal. It is very, very similar to the Ego. I think they're very similar in that sense. But you know what? I have everything I need, right? I don't need to go out and buy a battery. I don't need to go out and buy a charger. You know, so if you're on the Ego platform, that is an amazing speaker, okay? That's what I would get. But if I wasn't on the Ego platform, I would get the BoomBox 3. I like that. So that's my decision. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching our video. I sure hope you found it helpful. And if you did, give us a thumbs up. We'd appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and put our social media up on top if you want to follow us, and you'll be able to subscribe to our channel by clicking this round Tech Made Easy logo. Guys, thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.